Hey there, baby. Smokers chugging. We got the fire lit, stoked up with some oak. We got the temperatures climbing. We're gonna do 4 briskets, hot and fast today. Jimmy over there. Jimmy's got a barbecue for the veterans home tomorrow, and we're cooking brisket. So got a late start this morning, but we got her all cleaned out and we got her fired up and going. Once we get to 300, 325, I got 4 briskets to put in there, and then we can set about making them tender and delicious. Hey there, baby. Smoker's chugging. Got a little bit of a dirty smoke here, but that's because I'm burning oak today. I'm not used to burning oak, and the raindrops are starting to fall. Struggling to keep my temperatures up. We're trying to do a hot and fast, so I got only 195 degrees right now. We had a rough time getting a coal bed. My maple that I normally use makes a nice coal bed, stays pretty hot. Oak is supposed to have a lot of more heat to it, but for some reason I can't get it hot. I've been stoking this thing and I've been trying to build a coal bed, trying to get that heat built back up. My internal temperature on my 4 briskets has gone up from 40 to 54 degrees in the last 45 minutes or an hour or so. So I am hoping that I can get the fire under control. I may not be able to clean the smoke up because that just may be how oak is. However, I'm hoping I can get my temperature back up. And we got these 4 briskets. I don't know how big they are. I'm guessing that they were probably 15, 16-ish pounds before I trimmed them. I did the best I could. I'm not good at trimming them, and some of them have some bald patches on the flat, but it is what it is. I did the best I could. One of them had quite a bit of oxidation on it, so I had to really trim that one back. It lost a lot of weight. We ended up with a pile of fat in one of those half-sized foil pans. Pretty big. I would guess that we had maybe 10 pounds of trimmings between the 4 briskets, which isn't terrible, but not ideal. So we're cooking for the Vets Home barbecue that my buddy Jimmy Cairns puts on every year. And we're doing briskets, and then there'll be like burgers and dogs and maybe chicken or something, you know, salads like macaroni, potato salad, and hopefully it'll be a good day. Okay, folks. I gotta tell you, I've been struggling, but I am smarter than a piece of wood. There are several pieces of wood. My temperature's still climbing, still dirty, but I don't know if that's oak, because I never use oak. I use maple, but I don't have my wood pile here. I'm using Jimmy's wood. It's all oak. It's red or white or whatever, but it's all oak. Some of it's seasoned better than others. I thought I could put, you know, pretty good sized hunks in there and get my coal bed going, get the logs going, but the logs just smolder. They don't burn. Tried the propane torch, the weed burner. Got them going, got the heat up a little, shut the door, they die right back down again. So I kind of changed gears a little bit, found the driest, lightest stuff I could find in the wood pile, chopped it up real tiny, threw a bunch of pieces on there, got them going, went in a half an hour later to shake them, and they actually made more coals to drop down around these big logs that are still solid that have been sitting in there for hours. So my temperature's still climbing. I don't know what time it is, so I don't know how far into the cook we are. I think I started this around noon. My meat temperature, I only have 1 probe. I have 4 briskets, but I have only 1 probe in there, and it's 104.5. We started at 40 degrees. My temperatures right now are going to hit 272, which is kind of not real high for hot and fast. It's kind of on the high side of low and slow. So I'm glancing over at the thermometer here. That's what I'm looking at. Anyhow, I had to kind of change gears. Had to cut the splits tiny. Had to find the driest, you know, ones that I could find in the wood pile. Uh, anything I can to get that fire going. Right now, the stack of wood inside there is pretty good size. Should make a good coal bed. I think that's that's my struggle. The struggle of all of us is to have a good coal bed. You have a good deep coal bed. A lot of heat comes off of that itself, and it also helps to ignite subsequent logs that you put in. I think what was happening was I went directly from establishing an okay coal bed to putting some big logs in thinking they'd burn, and they didn't. They smoldered, and then my coal bed died, and then I had smoldering big logs and no coal bed and no heat, and I was struggling to break 200, 225, something like that for a while. So we're changing gears here. We're trying to, well, we're starting to drop again, so I got to go stir the fire. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Okay, folks, let me get your face in the fire here a little bit. You can see pretty good sized coal bed. Coal bed's about 2.5 inches, maybe 3 inches deep. I gotta get the camera away from here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna zoom you in, but I'm gonna step back to stay away from the heat. So if you'll look and see that on the bottom right there, there's a big log. That log has been in there longer than any of the other logs. That log has been in there. It used to be pretty big, and it was, I'm not kidding you when I tell you that that log was in there maybe 2.5 hours ago when I first started. But all the other logs I put on top had broken down into coals faster than that one. So sometimes you get a stinker, and that's what I consider to be a stinker. Anyway, got the fire going pretty good now. Got my temperatures up pretty good here. We're looking for 300, 3.25. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get that. And I don't think I'm ever gonna get anything clean like I'm used to with the maple. Let me zoom back out here. It's not terrible. It's blue smoke. It's just a lot of it. I burn that maple, and boy, that stuff, it looks almost clear. Sometimes I get a hint of blue when I make a big fire and shut the flue down a little bit. But doing the best I can. I'm also doing choice briskets, which I don't do anymore. I'm not even a brisket cooker. I gotta be honest with you. I'm Gordy Brisket Barrett on Facebook, but I have brisket in my name, but I've moved on. Brisket, I think, is wasteful and expensive, and honestly I don't like the flavor as much as I like other cuts of beef that I can get at the same price and have a lot less waste. My butcher for prime meat charges the same whether it's chuck, short ribs, or brisket, and I haven't been there in a long time. I haven't been there in over a year. I've been kind of on hiatus here. The last I knew he was charging about 13 bucks a pound, which is pretty pricey, but with the chuck, no waste. You put them on and you cook them and you eat them, and they're delicious, and they cook fast because the pieces that you put on are 2, 3, 4 pounds, and instead of 12 or 15, so you're not here all day doing it. And I think they look better, they make better pictures, they definitely make better eating, and they take shorter time to cook and shorter time to rest, so it's much less hassle. Jimmy insisted on brisket, so we're cooking brisket, and he insisted on buying chuck or choice, so that's what we're cooking. I'm gonna do the best I can with it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we get. Might be here a lot longer than I thought I was gonna, but I'm working on that temperature. We're back up to 271.1. That might be the top of what I got. It's about as high as I've seen all day. I'm trying to keep on top of my water pan. That temp runs away from me. I know that water pan's empty and it's time to refill, but I'm gonna try not to do that. Anywho, a little bit later we'll get into it and we'll take a look and see what they look like. Right now, now that I got my temps up, I just want to get some good out of it, get some heat in that meat, get the meat temperature up, get some cooking done, and I'll take a look at what they look like a little later on. Folks, right after I ended the last section of this video, I noticed white smoke just positively billowing out of that chimney, and it's cleaned up a little bit now. But what happened was I made like a little foil boat, and I put it on top of my tuning plate, and the tuning plate kind of dips down in the front. I think I need to spin it around, but that one unsupported edge of the tin foil did not hold back all the rendered fat, and it started just pouring down into the cook chamber, and it made like gobs and gobs of white smoke. So I avoided a grease fire, but I got to get that tin foil out of there. spin the tuning plate around and put new tin foil, which is gonna cool my temperatures all the way back down again. So I'm gonna try to do that as soon as my gloves cool off. My high temp gloves were sitting right up against the firebox right here, and one of them is so hot I can't even put it on right now. So the joys and experiments we run through, right? So what happened was this this pan here, which is originally the in the firebox, the other edge of it just goes flat. It doesn't have that upturn like this edge and the two sides do, and so it drooped, and that was pointed towards the front of the firebox, or the front of the smoke chamber. And the foil that I had in there, that started dripping, and that's where all the smoke came from. So I had to take it out, beat it flat again, shove it in the right way, make a new foil catcher, fat catcher, and I lost all my heat, so I might as well show you the meat. So here we go. Here's what the meat looks like so far, and probably gonna get time for spritzing pretty soon, and we'll keep at it. But my temperatures have dropped, so I got to get back at it. I think I finally figured out this oak thing. Much smaller pieces is definitely the way to go. Boy, that's a hot fire. Let me back up here, and I'm going to zoom you in. I always do that backwards. I'm going to zoom you in, and you can see those pieces are, you know, maybe 2.5 inches wide, and I still got a decent coal bed. I've been knocking those down. I got it open right now so I can get that one log on the top to catch. There's two others that are fairly fresh, but they're already black, and not sure how seasoned that one I just put in is, but once it catches, I'll shut this door. I'm still climbing 250, looking for 300 to 325. We'll see what we get. Can't get it with the door open now, so let's close it up. One happy byproduct of burning those little pieces and getting the fire hotter is the smoke is cleaning up a little bit. Still not like maple, but I don't think it was gonna be because it's oak, and oak is kind of smoky. But it's not billowy white smoke, it's kind of blue, it's just a lot of it. But as the temperature climbs, let's see what we got here. 253. As the temperature climbs towards 300, maybe that'll clean up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see what we shall see. It's all a big experiment, people. I'm here to do it for you, take all the pains. So just to recap what happened in the recent past here, we had our almost grease fire. We got rid of that boat of grease. We took out the tuning plate, hammered it flat again, spun it around the right way, put in a new aluminum foil boat. Also filled the water while I had that out of there because it makes it much easier to get to the water pan. Yeah, see, look at that billowing smoke. I don't know. Anyway, I was in there looking at the meat, decided to spritz it, so I got my my bottle, my 50-50 mix of vinegar and water, spritzed it a little bit, and so we're good for a little while until that water boils out of there. And I've been keeping a close eye on that, but I want to get my temps up. I want to get some cook time in. Looking at 130 degrees in the piece of meat I have probed, so that's good. That means we're about 75, 78 degrees away from being done. And still don't know the time, and I can't check the time while I'm on video because I'm on my phone. This is what I shoot my videos with, is my phone. And every time I'm shooting a video, I think, oh, what time is it? And I can't look. So hopefully in the next section I'll be smart and I'll look first, and then I'll start filming. Then I'll let you know. We'll see. Okay, the time is 3:38. The last section of video, you saw a smoker temp of like 256 and a meat temp of like 130, and that was at 2:30-ish. So I think I started, not really sure when I started, but I'm pretty sure that I either started the fire or I got the meat in somewhere around noon. So we're not really doing too bad. We got it, you know, it might have been 11:30. that I got the meat in. So things are cranking along. We got one of the piece of meat anyway is 156. Pretty soon, maybe in the next, I don't know, 10 or 20 degrees, I'm gonna open it up again, unless I need to open it sooner to put water in it. I'm gonna open it up again, take a look and see where we're at. If we need to wrap, that's gonna be a whole nother issue. And I need to chop up a little wood, get some smaller pieces, get ready to get that fire back up to temperature. But you see that temperature has been between like 265, 275 since I figured out how to run oak. And it's never gonna clean up. So it's dirty and it is what it is. And I'm just hoping it doesn't come out horrible, but we'll see. Listening for the sizzle, and the sizzle is when normally I have a water pan, I have the tuning plate, I don't have the foil on top like I do today. The fat drips down through the tuning plate into the water. When the water evaporates and you get down to where it's just the fat in the bottom of the water pan, it sizzles. It makes a loud sizzling noise and it's like, uh-oh, I gotta put water in there. I hear sizzle and I run to get the hose and I start putting water and I realize the pan's half full still, which is kind of shocking. Normally when I cook hot, I run through water like nobody's business. But I'm like, all right. It dawned on me that the fat is sizzling in that tinfoil boat that I made on top of the tuning plate. And it doesn't stop. So I really have no idea when the water is going until, I would imagine that if it really ran dry, the temperature would spike real high and that would be an indication. So I'm looking right now at 265. So it's been between 265, 275. My meat temperature is 160.7. We're about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we're okay. We're on pace. We're not going to run terribly late. I'm probably going to let it go maybe another 10, 15 degrees before I wrap it. I looked at it. It's got some bark. I didn't touch it, but it didn't look like the bark was super dry. I set my spritz bottle on that side shelf a little too close to the side of the smoker and melted a half moon out of the side of it. So, sayonara spritz bottle. I like that one too. That lasted really good and it did a good job. I've been wanting to get myself one of those, pump them up garden sprayers, like a 1 gallon garden sprayer with a metal tip. And this is just kind of like maybe going to be the thing that pushes me over the edge to spending the $40 on whatever that those cost and getting one. So my temperatures are holding steady. My meat temperature is climbing. I just hit 161. My smoke is really not terrible. It's clean as I've seen it all day. And I've been trying to find the lightest logs in the pile, and I've been cutting them as small as I can, splitting them by hand, and heating them up on top of the smoker. So we'll keep doing that method, and we'll keep at it until it's time to wrap. So probably the next section will be, there's really no changes. I'll probably do in smoker shot to see how the meat looks before I wrap it, and then maybe some like show wrapping one of them, and then once I get them wrapped, there's really not much else but seeing how it goes until the end. And then of course we got to rest them. So we got the Cambro in there right now. It's got cold stuff in it, which is going to suck because Jimmy doesn't have enough coolers. He's working on getting another cooler right now. He's got these big buckets of mayonnaise based salads, and he's got burgers and hot dogs and halal chicken and all this other stuff. So he has to keep it all cold, and he's got these little bitty coolers, and he's doing the best he can, but he needs to get that cold stuff out of that Cambro before we rest this meat. And I want to get the Cambro warmed up. Last night, so here's the thing. So yesterday I was here and I trimmed all the meat, and then once we trimmed it, we didn't have anything to put it in, right? So he doesn't have a big cooler. He had it in a cooler in the cryo packs, packed in ice once he thawed it, just to keep the meat cold before trimming. But then once it was trimmed and salted, we needed to put it somewhere and keep it cold. So we used the Cambro, and we put each brisket in a hotel pan, slid it in the Cambro, stacked them 4 high, and put a 4-inch deep steam pan at the top full of ice. So today when I got here and I actually put the meat in like 11:30, 12 o'clock, which is, I'm gonna say that's like 17 hours after we put them in the Cambro. There was some water in the pan, but at least half the ice was still not melted, and the meat was 40 degrees, which is fine. It's just like a refrigerator, so it was beautiful. Those Cambros are worth every penny. I think Jimmy paid like $375 for this one. It's like a single, you know, I think it's, I forget how many racks you can put, but there's so many shelves in it because you can use high or low hotel pans. And, but it's the one that when you set it on the ground, it stands, I don't know, 3 feet high. But let me tell you, when they're full, oh my God, are they heavy. This one is heavy to begin with, and that's kind of the trade-off. And the handles they're on the long ends, the long side. So when you pick it up, it puts it way out in front of you. One person, you kind of have to have two people, and Jimmy's got health issues, he can't really do it. So I ended up dragging it everywhere. But yes, beautiful, except very heavy. So I would suggest if you're gonna use them, hopefully, you know, put them in your truck or car or whatever with a helper. If you have to lift them down onto a dolly and roll them with a dolly. But fantastic at keeping temperatures. And what we're hoping that when this meat finishes, it's going to be in the 205 to 210 range, probably, I'm guessing, to get tender with the choice. So we're going to have 4 big pieces of meat that are like a couple of 100 degrees, and we're going to have them wrapped in paper. So we're going to put them in hotel pans and slide them in the Cambro, which I'm hoping to get the cold stuff out, get the Cambro out here in the sun. It's almost 90 out today. We're going to let it sit in the sun and warm up. We're going to put that warm meat in there, and it should rest, and it should keep it to serving temperature through tomorrow morning when we're going to be there and take it out and serve it up. So hopefully we won't have to reheat it at the vet's home. That's the plan. So we'll see what we see. But again, everything I do, guys, this is all a big experiment. Wow, that's about as, guys, I gotta turn you around. Can you see? That's about the cleanest the smoke has been today. Not bad. And it's still, well, temp's dropping a little bit, so I'm gonna add some wood to the fire. But guys, everything I do is an experiment. And some of the experiments, maybe not the best experiments. I'm not one of those guys that can afford a $1,500 Wagyu brisket to, you know, cook for you on TV like some of the guys can. I don't have any sponsors. I'm doing this all on my own. Actually, this isn't even on my own. This is Jimmy's purchase, and that's why we're doing the choice, because it was what he could swing. I do like the choice, however, for making corned beef and pastrami. So I told Jimmy, I said, listen, you know, we'll get some more choice ones to do, and we'll make that stuff. And I bought the makings of a steam pan. So I got a 6-inch deep steam table pan, and I have a 4-inch perforated hotel pan, and then I have a metal lid that I can put on top. So the idea is I can take, when I brine my corned beef, I normally separate the point from the flat through that fat section, and then I cut the flat in half, and I end up with 3 kind of equal size pieces of about, you know, 3 to 4 pounds a piece. And then I put them in the brine bucket, and it makes them brine faster, you know, 5 days instead of 10. And I make my uncured gray corned beef, and from the uncured corned beef I take the point and I rub it with red pepper, black pepper, and coriander, and I put it in the smoker and make pastrami. And up until now, the couple of times that I've done it, I struggled to get it tender, because unlike regular fresh meat, brine meat stays kind of rubbery. And then I was doing a little research, and I found out that the delis that make pastrami actually steam it, and that's how they finish it, and that's how it becomes tender. So my plan is to cook a couple of these pastrami points, use the flats for corned beef, or maybe do like 1 point and 1 flat as pastrami, And then once I get them done, put them in that perforated hotel pan, fill the steam pan with water, cover it with a metal lid, throw it in an oven, I don't know, a 250 degree, 275 degree oven, and just let it steam for a few hours until it does get tender. So that's the final thing to making the really good pastrami. Corned beef comes out amazing. That you just take it out, you rinse it off, maybe let it soak a little while, take a little bit of the salt out of it, but you really don't need to because you boil it and it boils the salt out. So you boil it and it's so tender and delicious, and it has so much more flavor than store-bought corned beef. I can't even express it. I've got videos, I'll link them at the end, but I've got videos for all that. So thanks guys, keep watching. Okay folks, we're gonna have a gander inside to see what they look like, because I'm gonna take them out and wrap them. We got 286 and meat temperature 171. I gotta figure out what to do with these cables because they suck the way they are. But that's about as good as they're gonna get until I finish cooking them, and they'll even out a little bit once they're wrapped and finished. So that's it. Okay, so the whole time I was worried about the dirty smoke. Part of my worries were unfounded. And no, the oak doesn't burn as clean as maple, and some of that smoke was dirty, and it was evidenced by the type of bark and the flavor on the beef. However, I had a giant pool of fat inside the smoker on that aluminum foil, the second one that I put in there. Big pile, not pile, puddle. And it was burnt black. And every time I would open the door, there's a ton of smoke, which I thought was coming from the firebox. But no. So what I did was I took a whole bunch of paper towels and I soaked them full of beef fat and put them in this pan with my tongs. And now I've got smoke chamber temperature at 305 degrees and some pretty clean smoke going. So while I do think that earlier when the fire was not as good, I was struggling a little bit, but I've had really good temperatures for a while. I had the temperature climb up on me and I thought that the water pan was empty, so I went and filled it, and then I realized it was right up at the tippity top, and it wasn't the case. And then I had the idea about taking the fat out of there, and there was quite a bit, probably a quarter rendered fat in there. And when I wrapped the meat, I did see, you know, where you poke the fat, and if your finger goes down to the meat through the fat easily, it shows that it's rendered, but if it bounces back, it means that the fat is not rendered. So the fat is pretty rendered on this, and I don't have my instant read thermometer to make my final checks with, and I'm showing 201 in the one piece of meat that I have probed right now. And Jimmy's instant read bit the dust and he chucked it. I was expecting it to be here, and so I'm kind of screwed as far as the final temps. I won't get any accurate reading, so I'm gonna have to go old school and probe them with the end of a probe just to see how tender they are. I'm not gonna open the door because I got good temperatures and I don't want to screw around with it this close to the end. But the meat is all wrapped. It's been wrapped for the last, I don't know, 25 or so degrees. And Jimmy's washing out the hotel pans, and then it's going to go in the Cambro. So earlier I spoke about the Cambro, and this is the one that we have. And you can see that the handles are on the long side. In my opinion, they should be on the front and the back on the short side, so that when you pick it up, it's not putting the weight way out in front of you like it is with this now. And it's empty. It probably weighs, I would say it's 60 pounds, maybe 55 pounds. So just beware that everything you put in it adds to that weight. So a hotel pan weighs maybe a pound, and these finished briskets, when they're done, are gonna weigh, I don't know, 11 and a half, 11 pounds. So there's gonna be four, just to make the math easy, there's 4 11-pound briskets, which is 44 pounds, 4 pans at a pound apiece, which is 4 pounds, so that's 48 pounds. And if you add that to the 60 pounds that the box weighs, now you're talking about 108 pounds. So that's a bitch. Pardon my French, but it is. This Cambro is, I gotta say, it's probably, he bought this He says he bought it from me, but it's not really mine. It's really his. And years and years ago, it was Jimmy's. Jimmy's charity barbecue was for. It was for various different things, and I think it started out for. I forget what, but then it modified itself into being for scouting in the town where his lodge is. So it was all the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts in town. We'd sell tickets to the public. We'd have it at the American Legion Picnic Pavilion. We'd do a big barbecue, and I used to make pulled pork or brisket, and his son would make stuff. And sometimes he started out making a whole pig, and then I think he went down to making butts because they're easier. And I'd make my baked beans, and I couldn't make enough baked beans to satisfy these people. They loved them. Mac and cheese, all these different things. And then slowly the scouts seemed to lose interest, and Jimmy, being in charge of the vets home, decided to do not a fundraiser, but just because they deserve it for defending our country barbecue. And these are people who live at a veterans home, to their last days. So the people are in different conditions, some better than others, some more ambulatory than others, but all those that can come out to their picnic area, their covered indoor outdoor picnic area, are seated, and they have a bunch of healthcare people. So we serve the food to the healthcare people, and the healthcare people pass it on to the residents, and it makes a nice meal for them just once a year. Wish we could do it more often, but it's a lot of work, and it's a stressful thing, and so it makes it difficult to do it more than once a year. But they enjoy it, we enjoy it, and that's what we're doing here. So the idea is that when these are done, I'm going to take these wrapped briskets once they get tender, and I'm going to put them in metal hotel pans, stack them in this Cambro, close the Cambro up, and just leave it, and they'll rest in there. And it's a very good insulated box, so it should maintain heat hopefully right through until tomorrow late morning when it'll be time to serve. Hopefully they'll still be warm enough to serve. If not, then they'll have to take the temperature, and then they're going to have to warm them in the ovens, I guess, at the vet's home. But hopefully that won't be the case. And the thing about it really is that everybody knows that as soon as you slice a brisket, it gets cold anyway. So chances of you actually having a hot bite of brisket, oh boy, there's my alarm, 2:03. The chances of you having a hot bite of brisket are pretty slim, unless you're the guy that made it. You slice a slice and you sit down and eat it right then. Anyhow, cleanish smoke, about as clean as I've seen it. And again, I think that the struggle that I had was initially with the wood, but then later on with the fat that had collected in that tin foil. I gotta think of a better thing. I think they make a rigid, like a jelly roll pan type thing, aluminum foil jelly roll pan, so I can just put that in there. The problem with the regular foil is that once you get liquid in it, you can't pick it up because it collapses, and then it goes everywhere. It goes all down the front, scalds you, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I used the soak it up with a paper towel method, and my smoke cleaned right up right after that. So my temperatures are still good. Let's take a look in the firebox. Down at 276, so just coals. And we're gonna throw a log on there just to carry it up, because we're gonna go. We're at 203 in one of those, and it's not even the thickest one, so it's just the one that I could get at once I wrapped it and put it in there. So we're gonna let them go another, I don't know, 3-4 degrees, probably overkill. I'm gonna probe them for tenderness. Once they get tender, and Jimmy comes back here with these clean pans, he's still out downstairs cleaning them, I can put them in those pans and put them in the Cambro, and my work here is done. So hopefully this video hasn't been too long, but this has been a struggle all day. Struggle bus. The struggle bus was rolling on square wheels today, let me tell you. And so far I think I persevered. We each had a little, when we were wrapping the briskets, we each had a little tiny crust of fat that was hanging off, and I think the flavor profile is pretty good. I like the taste of the oak. It does have a little bit of a burnt taste to it. So, you know, that may have, you know, temperatures inside the firebox or smoke box may have been uneven. It is what it is. If I was doing one brisket, I can make one gorgeous brisket, but doing 4 of them like this, it really fills my smoker, and I really don't have any way of addressing any kind of hot spots or whatever. So it is what it is, and generally the bark will kind of it'll kind of sort itself out during the rest. Something that maybe looks a little too dark, a little too barky, tends to soften up just a hair and make it more palatable. But the fat rendered pretty good on the outside. We'll see what the inside fat looks like. Some of these had pretty giant bands of fat between the point and the flat, and I'm hoping that those get soft, which is why I'm letting the temperature go up. I'm probably not going to pull these until like 208, 210, and they may be a little overcooked, and the very tippy ends of them may be a little dry, but it makes for less chewy meat in the middle and better fat render. And unfortunately, I won't have any slicing videos since I'm not going to be there tomorrow. My work ends when I put them in the Cambro and get the smoker cooled down and start to get it cleaned out a little bit. And I won't be here for the, you know, the slicing of the brisket and the bend test and the pull test and the squeezing of the fat, so you guys think that it's juice and all that fun stuff. So I won't have pictures of that, but I'll get my reviews from Jimmy and whoever else shows up for work, and they'll let me know if it turned out worthwhile. And I'm guessing there's going to be about 2 of these left over because Jimmy always overbuys. See you guys. Hey everybody, it's the next day. Apparently the barbecue went off well. Jimmy was able to find some last minute help, so he had a couple of extra guys. He had 3 volunteers plus him helping with cooking and serving all the stuff. From what I understand, the brisket came out tender. It wasn't overcooked. It was able to slice. I know that when they overcook, sometimes you end up it chunks up when you try to slice it, and it ends up more like pulled meat. But Jimmy assured me that wasn't the case, and they said the flavor was good. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't even seen any done ones yet. Last I saw them was when I was wrapping them, and apparently there are 2 left, so Jimmy said he would give me some. But I don't have any hot right now, and it probably wouldn't look good all congealed and everything in videos. So I'm gonna take that home. I'm gonna enjoy it, and he's got some left over for him and his family, and we'll go forward from here. So right now the job is done, and the smoker is going to move yet again to another friend's house, my friend who lives in the same town where I work. So hopefully I'll be able to get some more regular content out to you guys, and there won't be any more videos of the meat on this video, but hang in there with me for more content to come. You guys be great to each other. Have a happy life. God bless. Smoker's Chuggin, baby.